another pop culture type of thing before we move back to the NBA realm. One that I have actually not dabbled in, but you have. So take the wheel on this one, Bob.
Yeah, I would actually. I have to say that this game has really just enthralled me into playing video games like I'm a kid again. Like, I've never been so into a game in my adult life since, back when Xbox Live first came out, for instance. I'm just as into this game as any game I have been when I was a kid, and that game is Fortnite. I know it's a huge deal right now. Everyone's talking about people that don't have, PS4 or Xbox or PC. Everyone's talking about this or knows this game. Like, it's in pop culture references. The team that was the Cinderella story in March Madness, what was it, Loyola Marymount? Or no? Who was the team that beat the Loyola Chicago, right?
Yes.
No. Sorry, they got to the Final Four. The team that beat the 16 over Virginia, whatever that team
UMBC.
was. Huh?
UMBC, the Retrievers, Maryland,
Yes.
Baltimore County.
Yes, they even referenced it, saying the win like this is just like getting your first Fortnite win. Like, it's so a part of everyday culture now that it's such a huge hit. If you haven't tried it, please download it. It's free to play. They just did a huge update. I got to give a shout out to Brandon McLarty, Berkeley, and Spencer.
Yes.
Those guys, they all play this game with me. They know how much I love it. I'm going to get Alex on it. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Got to get the game and see what it's all about, because I'm telling you right now, it's the best game, and it's free. And it's the best game to come out in years.
I'm a tough nut to crack, Bobby. You gotta really bribe me with something good. Last time we did the show, you said we should play, and hey, I might be free tonight to play, so maybe we'll do that tonight. We're talking about the same Brian and who the other guys you were talking about?
Sorry, Brandon, Berkeley, and Spencer.
Brandon and Spencer. Those were the guys that we were at your Vegas party a few years back, correct?
Yeah, one of them was there. The other two weren't, but yes.
Spencer?
One of them was there. Spencer was there.
Yeah, okay. My boy Spencer. I like Spencer. Okay, so that is our pop culture talk for now. Update from the National Basketball Association, if you have turned off your TV just to focus on us, which, hey, I can't blame you. The Utah Jazz ended up beating the Houston Rockets 116-108, so that series is now tied at 1 game apiece. The leader for the Jazz, Joe Ingles, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 10 for 13 for shooting, 7 for 9 from deep. So a big game from the Aussie. For the Houston Rockets, 32 points from James Harden, only 9 for 22 shooting, 2 for 10 from three-point land. Chris Paul had 23 points as well. So big news there. And what I'm now currently watching is something that is near and dear to my heart: the San Jose Sharks and the Vegas Golden Knights, not Las Vegas, Vegas. The Sharks lead 2-0 going into the first intermission. So congrats to the Sharks. Let's go Sharks. They're down 2-1 in their series. So back to the NBA, Bobby. One of the other series that is going on, the game that happened last night, the Golden State Warriors and the New Orleans Pelicans. The Warriors destroyed the Pelicans in game number 1 by 22 points. In this game, the Pelicans came back and really had the foot in the accelerator. They were ahead for most of the first half, at least the second quarter, and then Golden State kind of took a lead, and it was back and forth throughout. Steph Curry comes back and ignites Oracle. He only played 27 minutes, and he had 28 points and 7 rebounds. He was a plus 26 in his 27 minutes on the floor, 8 for 15 shooting, 5 from 10 from deep. Kevin Durant, 29 points. Draymond Green, 20 points, 12 dimes, 9 rebounds. And for the losing Pelicans, Anthony Davis, 25 points, 15 boards. Rajon Rondo, 22 points, 12 assists. Jrue Holiday, 24 points, 8 assists. I think that game last night was a little bit more of what I was looking forward to for this series, just knowing how well the starting four, I guess you can throw Etuan Moore in there, but the four of Anthony Davis, Rajon Rondo, Jrue Holiday, and Nikola Mirotic were all playing. They were all playing pretty much at career levels. Maybe not Rondo, because his run a few years back with the Celtics when he was averaging 40, 10, and 10 in that one playoff series was incredible. But Rajon Rondo is kind of back to the playoff Rondo we have been used to seeing. He hit a couple of threes when the Golden State Warriors dared him to. Mirotic is made the Chicago Bulls look absolutely asinine for trading him away in the whole Bobby Portis saga, and then Anthony Davis, of course, doing his Anthony Davis thing. I think the Pelicans can take 1 or 2 games from the Warriors, but with Steph Curry back now, I think it's pretty much a fait accompli in that the Warriors will move on to the Western Conference Finals.
Completely agree with you. I had my doubts going into the playoffs with all the injuries that the Dubs had. I really had my doubts that they, I still thought that they would do well, but I had my doubts that maybe they would be challenged more. And they really haven't been challenged at all this whole postseason, whether it be the Spurs, who they basically dismantled with little to no ease. It was just interesting to see that all the postseason, or excuse me, the lead into the postseason, the final few games of the regular season, the way that the Warriors got destroyed was all for nothing, and just shows how little that the last month of the NBA really holds for teams that are already going to be making playoffs. People look way too much into those things, being like, "Oh, are they going to be on a downturn now, or is this a marking of the end?" No, teams are resting. Teams are just not putting on a clinic because they don't have to. And for everyone that doubted the Warriors, I think we're finally seeing the Warriors of old. And like you said, with Steph Curry back, they're only going to be more dynamic. This team easily is, in my opinion, the top team in the entire NBA when it comes to chances of winning another championship. I'm honestly just amazed at how well this has all come together for the Warriors. I mean, all power to the Pelicans. I think they're a very good team. If they had Boogie Cousins, maybe some things would be different. But it's really hard for me to see the Pelicans even winning one game in this series, and to see the Warriors not really just go on a tear the rest of the postseason.
And I think, whereas if you took Steph Curry and Kevin Durant like individually away from the Warriors, you could say, one thing or the other, given a team with just Steph Curry or just Kevin Durant. But when you have both of them there, I think Steph Curry does such a different thing for his team than anyone except for what LeBron does for the Cavs, that having Steph Curry in there, even when they have 3 All-Stars and a former MVP with Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, I mean, that is going to be an exquisite team no matter what, coached by a very smart coach, Steve Kerr, and all the supporting pieces around them, obviously, like Andre Iguodala, yada, yada, yada. But someone like Steph Curry, and I think the halftime show last night, either the halftime show or the post-game show on TNT after that game, and where Kenny the Jet Smith was showing just how far out Drew Holiday had to be guarding Steph Curry, because Steph Curry was sitting about 30 feet away from the basket, but we've seen countless times again, and we saw it at least once last night, where Steph Curry made, a 30-plus foot three make it look like he was shooting from, the right or left corner. And his shooting ability and his range changes things so much for that offense that no one in NBA history has been able to do. And that's just because of that exquisite range and the fact that he can shoot 45% from there. And it's not something you can just if he's going to step back that far, I guess we'll have him shoot from there. No one else in NBA history has ever had that type of range. So it is a total game changer when he is out there. I mean, Kevin Durant, look, yes, he may be able to hit one of those every once in a while. Klay Thompson every once in a while. But Steph Curry makes those routinely. And so that will stretch a defense, even if the defense has been playing as well as the Pelicans have. When you have a guy who has to step out beyond the three-point line to guard his guy and can't help out, all of a sudden, a team that is the best passing team in the NBA and the Golden State Warriors can pick you apart and just absolutely, do 2 or 3 passes and go for a dunk for great Draymond Green, or find Klay Thompson wide open in the corner, or give right back to Kevin Durant, who is coming back up after driving to top of the key 3 or something. I mean, it is, when Steph Curry is in there, the Golden State Warriors are practically unguardable. I don't think if you had an NBA All-Star team, I mean, let's say the Eastern Conference All-Stars versus the Golden State Warriors, I think that would be a legitimate pick'em. I don't know how any team in the NBA besides a team that is full of, let's say, Giannis, LeBron, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and throw in whatever other super athletic, 2 or 3 in the East versus the Warriors. And I don't think they would come close because the Warriors have that built-in advantage when Steph Curry is on the floor. And yes, Kevin Durant, if you take everything else away and just have their individuality into it, Kevin Durant, you could still say is the second best player in the NBA and argue about that, ad nauseum. But Steph Curry just changes the way the game is played so much just because of his ability to, 1, shoot from out there, and then 2, break guys down off the dribble and find guys wide open. It just is a totally different dynamic. And when he is back and playing 100%, and look, we didn't know if he was going to be playing 100% last night. We knew he was coming back, but he comes back, he plays 27 minutes and scores 28 points. Yeah, I'd say he's 100% back. I don't see, really, if Steph continues to play that way, and, guys like Klay Thompson shot 4 for 20 last night, and they still won by 5. If Klay Thompson makes 5 more of those shots, it's an absolute blowout. And Klay Thompson is not going to have very many, nights where he's shooting 20% from the field. The only team I can see giving them any sort of challenge, and I'm saying a challenge as in like a 7-game series, is the Rockets. And with the fact the Rockets just lost tonight to a Utah team that, granted, is a lot of grinders and plays very well cohesively, they don't necessarily have a guy that can make the court, the half-court like 32 feet long. You don't have to guard all the way out there for James Harden. You have to guard, to the 3-point line, but nothing where it's like you have to change the way the NBA is played. And Steph Curry, he has really almost just broken the way NBA defenses can play. So New Orleans, good luck to you. But, I'm going to revise my pick. I say they win 1 game at most. They don't win 2 games, and Golden State moves on.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like you said, their biggest hurdle is going to be against Houston, but we saw what happened to Houston tonight. I agree. I just think that they're just too dynamic of a team to not win it all again this year.
All right, and the last NBA playoff series we haven't talked about yet is the Philadelphia 76ers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Boston Celtics, the boy wonder Brad Stevens continues to absolutely make miracles happen. Apparently now Terry Rozier is like a top 8 point guard in the NBA, which it does not make any sense to me how he can literally turn water into wine for this entire team of players. And I know Boston has drafted well, and I know they've really put together a good organization, but Terry Rozier was a guy who couldn't really do much in the league. He didn't do much for the first couple of years he was here. And, he was a kind of a bit player this year. He played, let's see, how many minutes a game did he play? He played 26 minutes. So I guess he was a bigger part, but this is his 3rd year in the league. He barely played in his rookie year. He played 17 minutes games last year. And now in the playoffs, they have played 8 games, and he's averaging 19 points and 6.5 assists per game and shooting 45% from the field and 44% from 3. It is absolutely insane to me that Brad Stevens is able to concoct a lineup that can defeat a team like Philadelphia, who has 2 legitimate superstars already in Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and a bunch of very good supporting players in Dario Saric, JJ Redick, et cetera, and just make them look silly without what was going to be their 2 top players coming in Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. It is, to me, it's absolutely this earth-changing.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of saw this series going in a different direction. I thought Philly would have no problem with Boston. Yes, Boston got Marcus Smart back, and they have the pieces in place outside of oh my gosh, why am I blanking on their point guard's name who's out?
Kyrie?
Kyrie, thank you. Kyrie. I just, as much as I thought they would still be a good team, I could still make a run in the playoffs, I thought without Kyrie, they didn't have that player, a LeBron-type player, a huge playmaker that's going to make the difference in close games and really put a team over the edge. I think if they had Kyrie there, they'd be making a run. But you nailed it on the head. What Terry Rozier is able to bring to this team and how he is impressed and is doing stuff that no one ever saw possible, at least maybe, a year ago, no one would be thinking that Terry Rozier would be leading this team as a point guard of the Boston Celtics and winning playoff games. It just wouldn't be fathomable. So to see them do this and to see the Boston Celtics able to take game 1 really just decisively against a